Allow me to introduce myself. I am Gilbert Bates, as I'm sure you have surmised. I'd like to extend my thanks to you, sir, for putting an end to the difficulties at my factory. I've been informed that there is a matter you wish to discuss. Great gods! How did you come by that ring? A gnome? What manner of tomfoolery is this? Are you certain it was not a dwarf? Yes, I am familiar with the dwarves and their customs. Tell me, was there anything distinctive about this fellow? By Alberic! I knew it in my heart! That was no gnome! It was Stennar Rockcutter! Stennar was an old friend of mine, but for him to cut off his beard, by the gods, it's unthinkable! But please, tell me, did he say anything to you before he died? Did he say anything about me? The evil? What evil? And where did he escape from? Something horrible must have happened after I... Did he say anything else? I do not know. Even though dwarves reckon time differently than humans, he must have realized that I am now an old man. Perhaps it is because I was but a boy when I betrayed his trust all those years ago. That is quite the long tale. A tale of my shame, it is. It is ironic that my greatest mistake is that which brought me such wealth. As a youth, I was enamored of all things dwarven, so I sought out the nearest clan and attempted to impress them with my grasp of their technology. They laughed. It was obviously a novelty to them, a ridiculous human who had a natural bent towards technology. I suppose it didn't help that I was a mere 14 years old at the time. I became something they humored to entertain themselves. Stennar was the only one who truly called me friend in all those years, and betrayal is how I repaid his friendship. It was he who first showed me their steam engine, as he knew I could appreciate the beautiful intricacies of its design. They had left it to rust in a corner, as they had very little use for a device that would reduce the need for sheer physical power. Imagine a dwarf relying on a device to do his digging for him. It's preposterous. I asked him if I could tinker with it, perhaps improve on it, as I knew this was the key to becoming truly a part of the dwarven world. I quickly devised a way to use it to power a pump for draining the mines. When I fell all over myself trying to explain it to them, laughter was once again their only response. I knew I had to somehow gain their respect, so I hastily sketched some schematics and set out to prove my theory. The struggling human mining company that I brought the plans to offered me a share in their mines for the steam pump. I was ecstatic. I had not a care for their mines or their money. I desired vindication. When I returned to the dwarves to boast of my accomplishments and be welcomed into their clan, they were gone. The inventions came quickly after that, fueled by my anger and confusion. How could they have denied me my place amongst them after all my labors? Somehow I felt I could still prove myself to them. I continued searching for them in all my spare moments, but to no avail. But then they came, the robed ones. They appeared to me late one night, and they warned me to never speak of, nor try to find the dwarves again. Still being a mere lad, you can imagine the terror that put into me. As my wealth and power grew, I shook off some of my youthful fear, and hired the first in a long chain of investigators to locate Stenar and his clan. None of them ever returned with any worthwhile information, and some never returned at all. The ones that did told of vicious traps and creatures attacking them from the shadows. As word of these failures spread, it became more and more difficult to find souls brave enough to take on the challenge. He knew that ring would lend veracity to your tale. I gave Stenar that ring the last time I saw him. Now he is dead. If only we knew what he meant by the evil. I don't put much stock in religious ramblings. I'm more concerned with who killed Stenar and why, and what all this has to do with my relationship with the Black Mountain clan. There must be some clue left in the Black Mountain mines. I am certain of this. You seem to be a resourceful individual. Would you be interested in searching the mines for some clue as to their whereabouts? I would make it worth your while, I can assure you. Of course. What do you wish to ask of me? I have never actually claimed that I did. It was just people's assumption. I have invented any number of devices based off its principles, but I did not invent the first one. Such is the enthusiasm, or perhaps the impetuousness of youth, that I did not stop to consider the consequences of my actions. All I could see was a way to gain the respect of the dwarves. It was all that mattered. Yes, it is, and it torments me every day. I was but a child when the robed ones gave me their dire warnings, and I was terrified. They were explicit that I was not to reveal the origins of the steam engine. Of course. What do you wish to ask of me? You don't understand. I was orphaned at a young age. The dwarves represented everything I wanted my family to be. A tight-knit clan, and the respect I had for their brilliance with technology. I made the mistake common to youth. I thought intelligence equaled compassion. I needed to belong, to find that I had some worth. My mother died, bringing me into this world. I believe my father died then as well, even though he continued to exist in the world for some 8 more years. When he could stand living no longer, he took his own life. He left me decently provided for, and with his grasp on reality becoming more tenuous each day, I believe he felt I would be safer in the care of others. The last thing he did in this life was to give me that ring. That is how much his friendship meant to me. I was devastated when he disappeared with the rest of the clan. I believe I felt more deserted and alone then than I did when my father killed himself. Of course. What do you wish to ask of me? Well, as you know, I am the foremost manufacturer of steam engines in Arcanum, virtually without competition. I am working on a prototype for a smaller, more efficient engine right now, as a matter of fact. I also have various interests in other technological endeavors. It is not much of an accomplishment when old Cedric Appleby is your chief competitor. Poor Cedric. Always was a bit of a blundering fool. I really wish I could have convinced him to come work for me. Cedric and I were close friends when we were children. He was furious that I wouldn't introduce him to the dwarves. Can you imagine? I had a difficult enough time gaining their respect without his simple-mindedness. After I invented the steam engine, he began to despise me. Strangely enough, I wish he was still my friend some days. Of course. What do you wish to ask of me? Well, as you know, I am the foremost manufacturer of steam engines in Arcanum, virtually without Why do you ask? You're not a Labour sympathizer, are you? A unionizer, perhaps? I can assure you, my workers are happy to have the jobs I give them. I treat all orcs, true blood and half-breed alike, better than any other factory owner. Of that I can assure you. Yes, I can understand that, with all the talk of labour difficulties and protests in all the journals. But in answer to your original question, I believe that I am fortunate to have been spared a lot of the problems others have been experiencing with their workers. I do believe it is because I treat my workers better than most. Why, their working conditions are almost human. Of course. What do you wish to ask of me? Splendid! Here, let me mark your map with the location of the Black Mountain mines. I am certain there must be some clues to be found there. Please, return as soon as you have found anything. Oh, one more thing. I would like to purchase my ring back from you. I'd give you 200 coins. It would mean quite a bit to me. My father gave it to me before he died. Much obliged. I will speak with you when you return.
Sure, I'll do it right away.